A Vlookup or vertical lookup in Google Sheets can be really helpful to find information quickly. So for example, I most recently used this when the email was sent out to teachers who were getting new Macs. I wanted to find out how many of those teachers were at Kaufman so I could reach out to them. What I did is I took the email addresses from that email and I put them into a Google Sheet. I put them into a sheet next to a column of the email addresses of all Kaufman teachers. And then I used a Vlookup to find out if the teachers in the list are at Kaufman. A Vlookup will look for specific information within a range of data. So let's take a look. In this sheet, I started with the equal sign as I do with any formula or function, and I use Vlookup. The first thing that you're asking it to look for is the search key. What do we want it to look for in our list of data? So I want it to look for this email address. Then you have to tell it where it's looking. So we're going to look in the range of data over here. Next, we tell it the index. The index is how many columns over that it should go. So if we look at our data, it shows us the email address in column A, and I want it to say yes if they're at Kaufman, and that's what I have in column B. That is in column 2, so I'm going to put a 2 for the index. Finally, we finish by putting true or false. False means that it needs to be an exact match. So the email address has to be letter for letter exactly the same. If I put true, it could find something close. Then you don't get as accurate of data. So I will choose false and then press enter. Now I'm going to click in that cell and I'm just going to drag my formula down. And it's going to put a yes next to any teacher who is at Kaufman. Now I can take this data and I can sort it so that I'm only looking at the yeses. So if I go to data and I sort range, and here I have my list of teachers at the top that I can reach out to. The next thing that we're going to take a look at are queries. Queries are something that I also find super easy and really helpful. So for example, in this attendance sheet that all of the secondary libraries are using, we have it separate out by period. So we have a master sheet that has when every student signs in, but then we have a sheet for each class period. And we use a query to create each of those different sheets. What a query does is it takes a look at all of this data and it separates the data based on criteria. So let's look at first period. The query in cell A1 says that it's looking at the attendance sheet, so all of the data in the attendance sheet. Then we tell it what to select. Maybe I only want it to pull in the student name and the time. I could choose that. I'm choosing to select columns A, B, C, D, E, and G from the attendance sheet. It's selecting those where column C contains the number 1. Then I've asked it to order by A descending so that we have the most recent date at the top. Then it's going to sort by D ascending, which means then the names will be alphabetical. And then by B descending, so the times are also in order. This may seem a little complicated to start, but the best way to get started with a query is to use the add-on Easy Query. So I'm going to go to my attendance sheet. I'm going to go to Add-ons and choose Easy Query, and then Create Sheet. Here I'm going to create a single sheet. I can give it a name, so I could say 7th period. Here I tell it what columns to show. So here I want to show everything, but maybe I don't want their picture, so I'm going to take out column F. And then I tell it how to filter. So for my filter, I want 7th period, so column C should say 7. So we choose where column C equals 7. Then I click Add. I can add multiple filters if I would like. When I'm ready, I click Create.